Good morning. Good morning. How are you today? This is Brenda Eshin Shoshana back with a little talk on simple solutions for your in a complex world. I was also going to say simple solutions for your everyday life. Both of those are true titles because our everyday life is so important and we kind of gloss over it usually, just thinking about larger projects, bigger goals. When are things going to change? How am I going to get out of this? How am I going to get into that? And we usually don't focus on simply what's happening right here and right now. And that is often a key, a wonderful key to unlocking our own happiness and our own clarity, because simple solutions, clarity of mind and of purpose as well. So today I'm going to talk about, these little simple solutions, by the way, they're very, very simple. They're obvious, but we don't really see them. So it's so much fun to uncover them and look at them and apply them, practice them, do them. And when we do, we're often so astonished at how easy and simply things can turn around and do turn around. So what I want to talk about today is very important one. We can never receive more from another than we're willing to give to ourselves. That's a powerful one because of this. So much of our time is I shouldn't say wasted, but is spent in wanting. I want this from them. I wanted them to say that. I wanted them to give me that. Being very, very hurt often and very disappointed in our relationships and feeling unloved or unappreciated is a very, very common source of pain. And it can be an undercurrent, a continuing distress. However, what we don't notice, it's just a matter of noticing it and attending to it. Many times we want love, appreciation from another person, whoever that person might be, a husband, a wife, a partner, a friend, a relative, who knows, somebody you work with, anyone, even a passing person in the street. We want to smile. We want, which means we feel a lack. Give me, I'm empty, I need, I'm hungry. And yes, we feel that. And yes, there is something that needs or wants to be filled up, an empty feeling, maybe a lonely feeling. This is so interesting. However, the truth is, what are we really willing to give ourselves? What are we willing to actually receive? Very important. Let's just pause a moment, because instead of getting all wrapped up in blaming someone else for being inadequate, insufficient, disappointing, which is what we do, we go into long periods of focusing on the other person, what they didn't do, what they didn't give me. And we become very distressed. And people can feel very hopeless about life in general. No matter how much I give them, they don't give me anything back, or they don't give me what I need, or it's not mutual, or it's not fair. Instead of focusing on what they didn't give you, let's change the focus a little bit and focus upon what you didn't give you, what you won't let yourself have. So this is a very important change of focus. Forget about blaming them for a moment, or for 10 moments, or for 10 days, or forever. Blaming others is a trap. It's a big trap that we get caught in, not them. We get caught in it because we don't see the solution, the simple solution. It's so simple. and it's so effective. And so I'm really happy and excited to be sharing this with you today. I really am, because I know how life-changing it can be quickly. So let's focus. What do you give to you? How often do you stop and take time and appreciate yourself? Say thank you to yourself. Value yourself, your own contribution. Usually not much. It's quite difficult for many of us to do that. We're very focused on appreciating others, giving to others, wanting back from others. It's all about somebody else. Now, we absolutely have no control over how anybody else is going to think, respond, what their mood is today. They might be very giving yesterday, and today they have an upset stomach. They can't give you anything. Life just keeps changing that way. But when we're focused on that person will prove my value and my worth to me if they love me, if they're kind to me, if I get an award, if they clap for me, if they ask me on a date, whatever it is, that will make me feel valuable and appreciated and rewarded. And that is really a mistake. It's a trap. It doesn't mean that they don't feel that way, but how they feel isn't the main point. The point is, how do you feel about you? Are you willing to give to yourself what you want from another person? That's very, I should pause a moment and let that sink in. Take a look. This can take time to unravel, to become fully aware of. Sit down and write. What is it that I gave to myself today that I really wanted and needed and enjoyed? How much time do I take to notice what I'm doing and thank myself and value myself and acknowledge it? That's a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful point. This is not about becoming egotistical or arrogant, just the opposite. It's becoming your own best friend. Someone you can really depend on when you begin to establish that pattern. Excuse me, I'm sorry. And it's also true, strangely enough, the more you give to yourself, the less you need it from another, long for it, are needy, hungry, demanding it from another, the more it will come. It's easier. It'll come, not only from them, but from all kinds of different sources. But that's not the real point of it. The real point of it is not to need it from the outside world, to be able to restore, replenish oneself. Now, how do you do that? How do you do that? It's a bit of a change in the way of being. For instance, if you've done something that you respect, that you value, or if you've given something that you value, take a little moment or two to acknowledge it to yourself. Let the awareness of that sink in. Let yourself feel good about it. It's pretty hard to do that, believe it or not. I'm not sure why, but it is. It's much easier to blame ourselves, beat ourselves up, find fault with ourselves and with someone else. That seems to be much more common and easier. Let's turn the tide. I love that phrase, turning the tide. I used to do a little podcast called Turning the Tide. I love that because most of us are swimming against the tide. And then we blame everyone else for it. So take a moment to notice, what do you respect about yourself? What do you value in life? And are you living those values? Your behavior does not have to depend on another person either. If they're acting out or acting in a nasty way or whatever they're doing, you don't have to respond in kind. Get pulled down. into that problem. You can keep your peace, you can be there, you can respond to them according to your standards, not theirs. So many times we're upset because maybe we yelled at someone or we did something we didn't like the way we reacted. Somebody kind of triggered us and we reacted in a way more similar to them than to who we really are. Just notice it. You don't have to blame yourself. Just notice it. Notice it. Even if somebody behaves in a way that doesn't feel good to you, you'll feel very, very much better if you don't respond in kind. Keep yourself. Know yourself. Be who you are under all conditions. Now, that's another way of treating yourself with respect, not getting pulled into their drama or their distress. There's many, many layers to this, and we will discuss many of them as we go along. But it's a practice, and it also just moment by moment, day by day. I think I mentioned the beautiful Nikon practice several, many little talks ago, and you write down every day. This is such a beautiful practice from Japan called Nikon. You take about a half an hour and you write down at the end of the day or whenever, what did I receive today? And when we really write it down specifically and carefully and mindfully, we received a lot more than we recognized. We didn't even we received a smile from this one. I just received a delicious breakfast that I prepared. Thank you. Thank you for the breakfast. Take a moment, really, really enjoy what you're receiving all day long. The other day, after a long time, a friend of mine was over and they opened my window. I couldn't open the window almost all summer because they were working on the building, the drilling, and it was kind of rough. And oh my God, I received the breeze through the window. It was like, oh my goodness. Rather than just let it happen and not notice it. Take that moment, notice what you're enjoying, notice what you're receiving from life all over the place. Receive it, feel it. So the second part of Nikon is, and what am I giving today? What did I give today? So usually people make a list of all the things they gave to someone else. How about you? What did you give to you today? Very important to include that. Tremendously so. Often we give to others what we want and need to receive ourselves. That's fine. But give it to you too. You're part of it. And the last one of the Nikon questions for the day is, what trouble and pain did I cause today? And they don't mean to go into guilt, but if something happened that you might have done inadvertently and you feel bad about it, you don't have to live in guilt, but make a correction, correct it, take care of it, say, I'm sorry, notice it, acknowledge it, see how you can turn it around and correct it. That's a beautiful way of giving to yourself so it doesn't linger on your mind all the time. And forgive yourself for whatever you might have done and make the correction. Sometimes it's just a phone call to someone to acknowledge, that happened and I'm sorry about it. And then you'll become also more conscious of what it is and you won't do it again. Or you find a turnaround, a little repair for it, whatever works for you. So today is about looking at yourself and seeing how you can give to yourself what it is you're craving from others. Doesn't mean you won't receive from them. You will. Actually, you'll receive a lot more. But that craving, that longing, that empty feeling, give it to yourself and see what happens. Thank you very much for listening. It's a beautiful day today. It's Sunday. I wish you a wonderful weekend, and I'll see you soon. Take care.